Originally, I believe the documentary came out in 2004. A French-produced documentary that did it air in the States?
Yes, yeah.
Um,
I don't know if it aired here, and if
it
so,
did.
where.
It was on BBC Four. Aired it as part of their
Really?
Storyville strand in 2005.
Oh, it
Um,
completely passed me by
I
back
think
then.
it started its life on Canal Plus in the France, and now it's found a new home on Netflix. It's the story of Michael Peterson, who's this American. He was an author. He was in the army. He ran for mayor unsuccessfully in his local area. It's about the murder or death or manslaughter, something of his second wife, Kathleen, who was found at the bottom of the staircase allegedly by Michael. He said she fell down the stairs, hit her head. You hear the 999 call being made. The police almost automatically believe that her death was caused by a blow to the head because the amount of blood they don't think a fall down the stairs would have caused it. So they arrest him and charge him with the murder of his wife, basically. And this first episode looks at sort of both sides of the story, prosecution and defense trying to sort of put their cases together.
Yeah,
Michael's
so
claims that he was in the pool at the time and didn't hear. He just found, he found her after a while, and that's why he called the ambulance. She had a daughter. He had two sons from their first marriages. He also had, with his first wife, fostered two girls of a German family whose parents had died. They were then adopted by Michael and Kathleen. So there was sort of an odd family dynamic, and the children initially were all sticking up for Michael and saying, no, he couldn't have done this. He loved Kathleen. But I think those opinions change over time. Basically, the documentary here on Netflix is a combination of the two series that they ran, because they did a second series during the retrial because Michael was convicted the first time around. Then an appeal was launched. That series follows this, and then there is 3 follow-up episodes that have new stuff because last year, I believe, an Alford plea was put in. I'm not quite sure what that is, but it meant that he was released with time served, basically. So he is now out. So the last 3 episodes that are sort of fresh to Netflix are like a new story. The rest of it is stuff that's already been on.
I find true crime one of the most compelling things on television. It's not always been good, but it's had sort of it's, for lack of a better phrase, it's had a rod injected in an orifice, because true crime used to be quite laced, straight-laced, and just people talking to camera. Now, in the case of things like this, and 24 Hours in Police Custody on Channel 4, and Making a Murderer, the access these people get, you can't actually believe what you're watching is real and what's been captured. For me, this felt obviously a bit dated because we're going back to 2002.
This is the forebearer almost, isn't it, to all of
it's
those?
sort of the thing that might have been the catalyst for everything else that followed. I think it's natural when you're watching something like this to jump to conclusions about the people. It's hard not to have your own opinions. I for some reason took against the elder son. I don't know why. I just found him a bit cocky and a bit self-assured and a bit unemotional about losing his stepmother and about the moments leading up to her death and all that sort of thing. But I have seen one of the episodes, the first one, and I will be watching the others, but I found it really, really compelling. But I know of all the genres on TV, true crime you struggle. Well, documentary you sort of struggle with, don't you?
I don't know. I wouldn't choose to watch a documentary, perhaps over.
Why is that?
I don't know. I don't know.
Because you do get emotionally connected to people,
Yeah.
and you do like an interesting story.
Yeah.
But
I
do you
don't.
think it changes when they're real?
No, I did. I mean, I watched all of Life and Death Row, for example, and I do like the educating series as well. I don't know. With this, I enjoyed it. I was compelled, but I didn't really think about it much after I watched it on Sunday, and now we're sort of recording this on Wednesday. And I would say as well, with something put together like this, I think American Vandal has ruined it for me a little bit because it did it so well and it is so similar to this sort of style that you're like, it did sort of ape it very, very successfully. It's something you have to be in the right mood for, perhaps. Dependent on the documentary, of course, but I'll always make time, say, for the educating series and things like that. But something like this, I'm not too sure.